What is a tyrant? Seems to be a silly and obvious question, where the answer is right there, in plain sight. It's easy to see a tyrant through their actions, the bloody knuckles and blood-soaked streets, the empty shell casings left in the dirt after someone was put up against the wall, the gallows that knows no sleep, the silent prison cells because the spirit of opposition had been beaten out of even the most surly prisoners and antisocials. What is a tyrant? If you look at history, it's generally been an organic trend towards better and brighter things. Looking at the economics of the world, the poorest American still lives better than a rich person did 2 centuries ago. Of course, the poorest people don't have 20-room mansions and horse-drawn carriages and stables filled with racehorses, but the poorest have the world at their fingertips with their cell phone, a movie studio and an internet connection half the size of a paperback in their back pocket. Some daring individuals have made themselves wealthy and famous by showing the world back at itself through the lens of their cell phone camera and a well-timed live stream. The existence of the internet and the power of the cell phone makes the hooligan more powerful than a king in his own castle 200 years ago. There is the corrosive effects of instant gratification and the adverse effects of dopamine addiction. Generation after generation of thrill seekers and selfie junkies and digital prostitutes. This, and the lack of privacy, is the trade-off for what has revolutionized the world in just a few decades. Still, the world is a better place than it was a decade ago, and then it was a better place than a century ago, and then it was a better place than it was 200 years ago, onwards and upwards. To the question of what a tyrant is, it is simple. The tyrant is someone wanting to command this organic evolution of the world. They would force things upon the world that wouldn't have otherwise evolved on its own, and usually based on a perceived state of being. The tyrant identifies as a savior of their people, the good people and the proper people, towards a noble cause either brought from some legend or myth of the past, a purer time, a moment in history to be pushed into the future in some form of utopia, or some ethereal ideal plucked from the vapor of an unrealized future. Either way, the tyrant is a self-starting visionary of some grand design. And because of the foibles and frailties of human nature, this vision has to be the forge and anvil from which the better human being is formed. This is the tyranny of the tyrant, that human beings are imperfect and contrarian and contradictory, and because of this inherent nature they must be formed and crafted, even against their will, against their better judgment. If the human being can't be formed, they must be, for the sake of those who can be reformed and recrafted into the tyrant's vision, removed from the greater good, for the greater good. This is the character of the statement for the greater good, as there will be some who do not survive this recrafting, this re-education, this reforming into a better human being, that they are sacrificed for the greater good, that they are redeemed in death because they sacrificed their existence, willfully or not, for the greater good. In order for the ideal citizen to be ideal, he must not be himself, but a cell in the larger organism of the state.